Hello, and welcome back to Di's vlog. I am, of course, Diane Seamark. I am the co-owner of Sadohana Dojo, a martial arts and healing academy in Vancouver, BC. I'm a Menkyo Kaiden Shihan in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a yoga therapist, a certified body-mind coach, and presently a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Corupura land, which is Rodrigo Pagani. So that's my little backstory for those that don't know me. And for those of you that do know me, hi. I started my vlog last year and it was called My Path to Blue. Well, I got my blue belt, hurrah, in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I'm still talking about my journey because it's important. So today is my inaugural renaming of my vlog, Jiu Jitsu and the Body-Mind Connection. Because that's ultimately what I'm sharing with you is the body-mind connection. You know, what happens to us beyond just the jujitsu part, right? Just beyond getting into top mount, learning side control, doing jujitsu. What's going on for us in the background, right? As I've shared with you, I have complex PTSD. So I use my jujitsu therapeutically to help me heal because it is a freaking amazing art form to explore my nervous system. Because jujitsu, okay, jujitsu is a gentle art. Yes. But jujitsu is all about resolving conflict. It's all about getting positional dominance, superior positioning, maintaining distance, executing skill, technique, being in control, disabling the attacker, self-defense. That's jujitsu. So like conflict is like you can't get away from conflict when you're doing jujitsu safely, cooperatively, with training partners who want to help you and make you better. It's fantastic. And in fact, there's a lot of people out there that are studying this. They're studying the neuroplasticity, the neuroanthropology of how profoundly impactful jujitsu is for the mind, for positive mental health outcomes, for being better humans. You know, there is this really great American psychologist called Abraham Maslow, who in the 1930s wrote a paper called The Theory of Human Motivation. And so he came up with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, we start with our base needs of um, of safety, support. We move into like love and friendship, self-esteem, confidence, all the way up into this self-actualization piece. And it's almost like jujitsu was totally made to facilitate and grant you this Maslow hierarchy of needs. Because, you know, in a dojo, in a good training community, you get this brotherhood, you get this friendship, this sense of family, because you're showing up and you're grinding it out. You know, and you're meeting limitations within yourself first and foremost. But then you have to cooperatively work with somebody else as you're meeting these limitations, as you're running into your own growth edges, um, you know, and training. So for me, you know, I love my yoga therapy. I love hydrating my fascia and stretching out my body and doing my flow and doing my poses and meditating and just having this sovereign independence of me alone on my mat in my happy space. You know, I've got like 30 years, 3 decades, a long time doing my yoga. But I don't get to the same place that I do with Jiu Jitsu, because unlike Jiu Jitsu, when I'm doing my yoga, I can let my consciousness drift somewhere else. Ah, I can rehash a conversation I had with somebody. I can do my shopping list. I can think about those emails I have to send. I can kind of, come in and come out because it's just me alone on my mat. When I'm doing jujitsu, whether it's my stand up Kokodo or my ground game in Brazilian, I have to be 110% present and focused and aware of, is somebody trying to choke me? Somebody trying to get positional dominance? Is what's somebody doing to me, and how do I make it stop safely, cooperatively, effectively? I have to be in the pocket. Now, what happens when all the rest of me has this backstory that's logged in my autonomic nervous system, right? We all have an autonomic nervous system that automatically runs in the background, looking for safety, looking for support, wondering if we should fight, if we should flee, if we should freeze, if we should fawn. What do I have to do? What am I being told? And all of our past data is loaded into this autonomic nervous system. So when I show up on the mat, I have my backstory. You have your backstory. Everybody has a backstory. Everybody has their life experience recorded into their autonomic nervous system that makes them behave and respond accordingly. I have a really great info booklet that you guys can download. I'll put the link in the description on, is it your personality, or are you in a 4F response, meaning um, this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode? Because for me, for a long time, I thought it was like just my personality. And I realized, wow, no, actually, I've been terribly, terribly dysregulated for a really long time. And my jujitsu helped me with that, because, and my yoga therapy, of course. Um, Anytime I get into my body and I discover all of this rage that I have, and this sadness and pain, and I don't know how to process it all. So it comes up, and it has been coming up for as long as I've been, moving this beautiful body of mine. So jujitsu and the body mind connection, right? Isn't it yummy? I want you to start looking at your body mind connection and start understanding what your backstory is, what your autonomic nervous system comes preloaded with, so that you can live a really full, empowered, emotionally intelligent life. Why not? Right? Isn't that what we're all here for? To have self-esteem and confidence and empower ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. So I had this really interesting training session this week where I was learning an elbow escape from a top mount. And before we even got into the drill, we were doing our warm up, and I dissociated. We were doing like the whip and kick the door and warrior walk and around the world, and just, individual independent drills. And so there's no conflict, there's no dilemma. There's just me and my gorgeous autonomic nervous system, and all this data that I walk around with. And Hanshi gave a prompt, and I was like, whoa, sorry, I could you please repeat it? Because I didn't know what we were supposed to be doing. Now, I train in a trauma-informed school, so everybody is incredibly kind and collaborative with me. I don't get shamed. I don't feel humiliated. None of that comes up, because why would it? You know? And so I got the instruction of what we were doing, which was going from combat sit to get up into base, and get up into base, confidently and strongly. And so I got through that. But then, of course, because I'm a incredibly self-inquisitive person, I learn about, interoception, reading my body's cues. I was interested as to why did I dissociate. So I had this actually also really cool synchronistic thing that happened. where I was looking up I was actually watching some crypto, some crypto videos. And oddly enough, I also read a lot about trauma and healing. So I had this thumbnail that said 11 common traits of childhood trauma. So I clicked on it because part of my complex PTSD comes from significant childhood trauma. And one of the traits was dissociating on the spot. So, that's what happened. I dissociated right on the spot. And I think it was because I was tired from the day before, moving like a ton of furniture. And so I was already a little bit like edgy because, I with CPTSD, you usually run pretty high, like you're in this hypervigilant state. And so I was already tired. So my defenses, was being read as a little bit weakened. So, anyways, I had this dissociative episode. And I'm like, okay, interesting. We go into the drill. We go into this top mount drill, elbow escape, where I've got my husband on me. He's, a beautiful Hungarian, and he's big and he's heavy and he's on my hips and I'm pinned and I'm trying to get this arm across onto his hip, and I'm trying to get my elbow so that I can do these little 1-degree shifts and hopefully shrimp myself out enough to be able to get a knee shield up and move into safety. Hey, well, that wasn't happening for me. I wasn't able to move a lot, and I felt myself shutting down. So my dissociative heightened freeze response that happened earlier, this kind of continued, but I wasn't in like a high panic mode. Whereas like maybe a year ago, that would have really triggered me and got my heart rate up and I would have panicked being pinned. That didn't happen. So yay. Wonderful. Instead but I felt very much like I should give up and die. Like there's no winning. I'm going to just freeze and shut down because I cannot execute any skill to displace my opponent. And, it wasn't like I didn't feel like demoralized about it at all. It was just kind of like matter of fact. And then even later, he was describing again that, our objective is to survive, escape, control. That's what we're trying to do in Jiu Jitsu in these conflict resolution states, survive, escape, control. To which I offered, well, I would just die. There is no surviving for me. And it was so curious that I felt the need to share that in class because I'm a fairly, self-assured person in life, and I don't give up at all. I'm very persistent and determined young lady. But I think I needed to like voice it. I needed to put words to the somatic experience that I was having. And I needed it to be okay that I thought this. And it was fantastic because, we got coached some more, and that's the other thing, right? Like in a jiu-jitsu dojo, like you are being brought through your window of tolerance. You are being encouraged and kind of pushed and brought along in ways that we wouldn't do ourselves. I certainly wouldn't do myself. I'm like soft kindness, tell me I'm pretty, pet my hair, like movies, no output, no interfacing. Um Yeah, that's like home plate for me. So I love training because it makes me show up. I know that, regardless of what's going on in my life, if I suit up, get my gi on and get on that mat, it's all going to be there when I get off the mat. But that for that hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, it just gets to be me working through my stuff. Right? That's probably why you train, right? Like you get these moments where you can go to 0 point, where you can just work your body, breathe, co-regulate with like your fellow students, be in a safe place, empower yourself, work on these like positive mental health outcomes that you get from training. So we switched partners after a little bit, and I worked with someone who was like younger and lighter and much faster and super flexible. But it was fabulous because I was able to do it. I was able to like do that little 1 degree, 2 degree shift, get my hand across, get my elbow in, be able to move, get my knee shield up, bada bing, bada bang. Beautiful. Elbow escape from top mount, successful. And it was fantastic. And then we did our rolling at the end of the class. And of course, I was like, I did not want to do it. I was done. I was pretty sure I'd leveled up and reached every possible window of tolerance available to me. But I've got an amazing coach. And he was like, come on, we'll do a 5-minute round. We'll do a 2-minute round. And I was like, I'm okay. Begrudgingly, I did it. And I'm so thankful I did, because it was the right thing to do. And, because I trust that he's going to bring me safely into and out of experiences, and everybody is very supportive. It was a great day. So I want to celebrate the fact that how far I've come, working this body mind connection and seeing how I'm able to tolerate stressful situations that do trigger me, and I don't give up. I stay with it so that my window of tolerance just keeps building and growing, and my capacity to handle the stress that comes up and the dysregulation that I feel because of my backstory, because of all this pre-loaded data in my autonomic nervous system. It just keeps getting better, you know? That's why I train, and that's why I make these videos, because I want you to have the best experience you can, and I want to encourage you to hone and cultivate your emotional intelligence as well. So, thanks everybody for my for listening. Please like, subscribe, share my videos. It's really important that we keep this dialogue going in the Jiu Jitsu community about promoting positive mental health outcomes, and learning about the nervous system and the different states that we have. Again, if you're curious what your default state would be, go ahead and download my free guide on the 4F states. And you can also check out that link about the common childhood trauma symptoms, if you're curious about that. And just know that I'm coming to you with like a firsthand experience. I'm sharing what I go through. I'm letting myself be really vulnerable and tell you exactly what I'm mapping, what I'm reading, where I'm getting triggered, what happens to me as somebody who has complex PTSD when I train. This isn't theoretical. This isn't like a cognitive behavioral approach where we're just like talking about theory. Like I'm letting you know, like this is what a freeze response looks like, and it can come out of nowhere, right? And this is what happens when I do have a really high fight and flight response, but I can't go anywhere. And this is what a window of tolerance is. And I want to talk more about what glimmers are, and the polyvagal theory, and how we can move from this low dorsal vagal state to a sympathetic state up to ventral vagal. We all want to be in this yummy, good ventral vagal, dopamine hitting, happy, serotonin filled place. Probably why you do jujitsu, but we're not always there. And even when we do jujitsu, the somatic sludge, the goo in our body can come up and activate that subconscious running surveillance state of the autonomic nervous system, and you're popping off and you're low key dysregulated. You don't even know it. So thanks for watching. Again, please like, share, and subscribe my videos, and I'll see you next time with Jiu Jitsu and the body mind connection.